Hello, Victor. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm great, thank you. How was your holiday, your Thanksgiving holiday?
It was really good. I was with my family, so I had to go to two different houses, so I got fed two different times and very full. But I got leftovers, to last a week.
That's
How was
good.
yours?
My Thanksgiving was great. I spent my time with my family. I did cook everything, and it's a lot of food that we have left over as well. So I really enjoyed it.
It's good.
Okay, I just want to say that this is our last session. Okay,
Hmm.
in session two, we did talk about how your stress level has decreased from our first session.
Hmm.
We did talk about the things that your job is trying to implement to reduce the stress on the employees.
Hmm.
Has there been any changes since then? How has your stress been since the first session to our second session to our final session now?
Um, I guess it definitely has gotten easier with how the supervisors are managing, I guess, their units more. They're
Hmm.
making sure we all like help each other out as best as we can. And even though I just got a new case before the break, but I mean it's just one of those things that I knew was coming bound to come anyway. But I was able to close a couple cases before actually getting this new one, so it's kind of balancing out. But I'm just still waiting for like the new people to come in and we get help even more, with our caseload and everything that we have to go through.
Okay. So it sounds like even though you didn't really want a new case,
Mm.
you were able to close some of your cases.
Yeah.
So it kind of balanced out to where you're not getting work upon the work that you already have.
Right.
Okay. How did you feel when you closed those cases? Were you excited or?
For some of them, yeah, I was happy because I just felt like those cases should have been closed a long time ago, but due to the children's behavior, that's what prolonged it, from closing. And now I'm just trying to work on closing other ones that everybody keeps saying that should be closed by now, and just trying to help those cases close, even though there's some of them that you really don't want to close because you don't really trust the parents, but you got to give them that chance to have their kids back. That's it.
Okay. And you mentioned that with you closing the cases and you're getting a new case, it's kind of balanced out, but you're still waiting for, the new employees
Hmm.
to, I guess, kind of balance out even more the caseloads that you have. So, what's the case number or load that you're supposed to have?
We're supposed to have between 20 to 25 kids, and right now I have like 37.
Oh, okay.
So we, they said that we're waiting on a new person is coming in from like another certified case manager is coming in that's going to be on our team, and they're going to be getting. Even though I just got this new case, I'm just going to start it for them, and then once they get into our job,
Hmm.
it's going to be transferred over to them, and then our supervisor is going to work together in a meeting to figure out which cases could go to them to help us lower our case numbers,
Okay.
starting with our lead because he has the most cases out of all of us, and then I'm
Okay.
the second.
Okay. So it sounds like from, from session one to session two that, your job is, they're really trying
Hmm.
to, reduce the stress level, reduce the amount of work that you guys have to do, and I
Yeah,
guess the amount of caseloads and families that you have to deal with.
yeah, it's because it gets too much, and we can only cater to one family fully, or like, but so many families, and with 37 kids, that's like double the parents because each kid has two parents, so you got
Hmm.
to deal with all that. And if the parents are not in the picture, then you have to deal with grandparents, aunts, uncles. So it just gets a lot because then people think that you're not helping them, but you have other people to help every day too. So,
Okay. So I'm just going to talk about your stress level since that was, the reason
hmm.
um, for you for starting these sessions. So how has that been since the last time we spoke?
I think it's been better managed. I think I've been better at managing it.
Hmm.
Um, like we had to figure out stuff the other day. We had to figure out our stuff for our kids and getting their appointments done and all that stuff. And I just remember just sitting down and just picking a day and just called, found the dentist nearest them, called them, got their appointments in. Like, that's during that same weekend, just took care of all the appointments right then and there. Just because that's one other thing that we have to deal with if our caregivers don't, follow through with taking the kids to their dentists and stuff, then that's one thing that we have to deal with, which is another burden on us because then we have to work our schedule around taking a kid to a dentist, bringing them back home, and doing all this stuff. So, you know, it was a little hectic, but so far I got through the first week, but now I got to schedule take kids again because pretty much all those kids had cavities, so they got to go back and get them filled and get them redone again. So it's pretty much the new thing right now.
Okay. So you've been able to manage your stress better than you did before in session one.
Yeah, I guess back when we first started, it got to that low point that it was like, what the heck is going on? What is there left to do? And everything kept on saying, Victor, you need to do this, Victor, you need to do that, Victor, you need to do this. And now it's just like I'm getting back onto my beginning track where I was not behind, but like trying to be one step ahead and like close to where I needed to be. So I'm not falling back anymore.
Okay. Okay, so it seems as if you're definitely managing your stress level better than before when we first started in our first session. I can just tell that there's a difference in your demeanor, how you're talking now from when you were talking in the beginning of our session. In session one, it just seems as if you were just so stressed. And it just seems like now you're doing much better at managing your stress level and managing your caseloads and everything at work. So that's a good thing.
Hmm. I guess stopped letting I stopped taking the work home with me. I just started just whatever I didn't finish at work, too bad, I'll finish it tomorrow. That's how I had to do it, just because I guess it started catching up to me, the stress of the job. And after being there for a year, which I was doing just fine for the year, but after, getting a new supervisor and starting to having to adjust to the way they work and, a small team, who we were kept on getting case after case after case after case, and there's only three of us. But now that we have, that we have another person and getting another one soon, it's just slowly but surely like helping us out. And yeah, like I said, if I don't, I just learned to just leave my work at home. I'm at work and like come home to not having to worry about it until the next day.
Okay. So it seems now that you're definitely separating the two.
Hmm.
You're not taking work home with you every day. It's not stressing you as much. When you leave work, you leave it there. If you don't
Yeah.
complete something, you're not stressing over it. You're not, you know, what am I going to do? We're basically panicking about it. You're just basically separating the two. Work
Correct.
is at work, home is at home, and whatever I don't complete, I'll complete the next day.
Hmm.
So that's a good thing that you're doing, able to separate the two, because a lot of people are not able to do that.
Right.
Um, I remember in our last session, you did speak about your stress level with the parents, not so much of the kids. You love the kids, you enjoy the kids, but the stress level with the parents. Has that changed since our last session?
Well, the stress with the parents, it still goes, it can vary like a roller coaster up and down. You have some parents that are so cooperative and they respect you, you respect them, they know how to talk to you, and they know how to ask you for help, and they're very much engaged with the whole case and like making sure that they're doing what they have to do. And then you have some caregivers who you literally tell them everything that they have to do, send them like email addresses or websites that they have to go to get stuff done. You do everything that you have to do for them too, and they still complain like to court, and they're like, well, my case manager hasn't helped me with this, or my case manager hasn't done this, and it's like, no, I've sent you everything, I've turned in everything that I need to do. You're doing something wrong then, so you have to fix it yourself. And then you have some of those caregivers too that are like, oh well, like you schedule them an appointment for the kid that they're taking care of, and then they can't take them to their appointment, but yet they signed up for that job. Like they have to manage them the same way they will manage their kids. No matter where the dentist's office is at or the doctor's appointment, if it's 30, 40 minutes away from your house, too bad. You have to take them there for that first visit and then find something else for their next one closer to you. Like that's just how it goes. And then I'm still dealing with that one parent that, I really can't stand her, but I mean, everybody's saying that she's already at that point that she's this close to getting her kids back, and I asked for paperwork from her, she doesn't give it to me. She cancels her visits, or she doesn't show up, and then we get to court and she tries to blame it on me that I'm not allowing her to see her kids, when no, you either don't show up to your visits with your kids, you either don't call them, which she does call them because the caregivers have a log for me that says when they call, and they even show me in their phone. But she still says that she doesn't get phone calls from them, and that I always cancel her visits on her and never make them up. No, we already came to the point that she's canceled so much that there's really going to be no more makeup visits for her. It's either she sees her kids or not. And this last one before the break, she didn't get to see her kids. She didn't even write me back, call me, nothing. And the kids were there, at 10 o'clock in the morning waiting for her, and they never showed, and she never showed up. But what I started doing with that specific parent is, whenever I do write to her or talk to her, I make sure my supervisor's included in the text message, so she can't try to say that I'm lying, on her in court, because if my supervisor just so happens to be there in court with me, she can say, no, he added me in the messages too when we have them, because she is quick to throw me under the bus and say that I'm not there to help her. So, I mean, besides that, all my other parents are great. It's just that one individual that like my supervisor is saying that maybe it is time to close the case, but how am I going to close the case if, it's not only me that closes the case, it's the attorney too. And she doesn't feel confident closing the case unless she shows her income, or she shows how she's going to be able to pay for the kids. Like she has her housing, she has everything, but on top of that, we need to see the income, and she's been missing her counseling sessions too. So it's like, you want the kids or you're losing now, because now you're not even going to your counseling sessions and you're about to be kicked out. So that's a whole new thing that we're dealing with now.
Okay. So, what I'm hearing is that the stress level with the parents is not as bad as it was before,
Yeah.
but just with that particular parent, you still have issues with her.
Mm-hmm.
You did mention that you were able to separate the stress of the work overall, and leave it at work and not take it home. How about the stress level with dealing with the parents? Have you kept that separate as well, or you're still kind of?
Oh yeah. Well, now with the parents, not that I put it all on my supervisor, but whenever I am talking to a parent now that's like being overly aggressive with me and stuff like that, I like will sit down in my supervisor's office with them on a conference and work it out like that, because my supervisor can also attest to like hearing how they speak to me, and then she's able to also help me calm them down, or help me better teach them to better understand where I'm coming from, and like for them to know that it's not that I'm attacking them or that I'm not on their side with getting their kids. It's just that's just how my job is. And once my supervisor is in the picture, then they change to a whole completely different person, pretty much.
Okay.
So
I can definitely understand that. I remember myself with my previous job, I had to deal with the same issue. Trying to separate stress, keep work at work, and leave home at home, and separate the two. So I can definitely understand where you're coming from in dealing with someone that's just very disrespectful, because I've dealt with people that way as well. So, um, I just wanted to let you know that I understand, where you're coming from
Yeah.
and how you feel. Okay, so it seems like you've been doing very well with managing your stress. Again, so that you know that this is our last session,
Hmm.
I just want to make sure that you'll be able to manage your stress, appropriately between, work and your caseloads after
We're
this
done.
session. So, can you give me one or two things that you found helpful about this counseling experience?
Um, I guess one thing that was helpful was being able to talk about my job outside of my job, if that makes sense. Like
Mm-hmm.
not just talking to the people who actually work there because they're going through the same thing, so they can only tell you but so much as far as what to do and how to deal with things, and because everybody deals with things differently. But also some people that I work with, you barely see them anyway, but yet but yet they're, how do I say it? It's like you barely see them because they're always on vacation, but when they come back, it's like they barely have anything to do anyway. So it's just like, how is that working? And then little do you know, like it's more of that their team is doing all their work for them while
Mm-hmm.
they're getting all this vacation time and all this stuff. So that is one of those big things that um, really helped out because even people that weren't there, I would talk to, and it's like, okay, obviously, all you're doing to get away from this stress is go on vacation. So that's not really helping anything. Another reason why this counseling has helped is because it's helped me um, learn about who else I can talk to. It's not only about having the counselor. It helped me with seeing that I can you know venture out and taught me how to leave things at home, talk more with my mom, talk more with my other friends that have nothing to do with my job, to letting them know like what's going on as much as I can because I can't really disclose too much information about my cases, but letting them know like, look, I'm so stressed out because of this, and this, and this, and I have to go drive all the way to Jacksonville or drive all the way to Miami and this and this and this and this. So it came, it's better to like voice where my stress is coming from and like not let it no longer affect me. And especially now that my grandparents are here, all they've been doing is making me eat because they know that it helps, and they really know, my grandmother especially knows how like to help me relax. She tells me to drink this relaxing tea before I go to bed, to
Mm-hmm.
help me like relax, or she tells me to have a bubble bath or whatever like that, or like I take a nice hot shower, things like that. That's just been able to help.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you have some great things that you took away from this counseling
Hmm.
experience. For one, you said that you were able to talk to someone else other than people that you work with that, like you say, go through the same thing but handle stress differently. And they can only give you so much because they're going through the same thing. So that's a great thing that you were able to, reach further out and be able to, talk to
Hmm.
someone else about what you're going through.
Yeah.
And then you said the second thing was that now that having your grandparents with you, your grandma has been especially helping you a lot with, giving you remedies from,
Hmm. Grandma remedies.
grandma remedies,
Yeah.
basically drinking tea, taking bubble baths, just to help you reduce your stress. You've been able to talk more with your family, with your friends, not some more of details of the
Hmm.
case because you're not allowed to, but just being able to have that extra person there that you can talk to. So
Right.
it seems like that's been helping you a lot as well. So it's really good that you're able to that you have things that you can take away from this counseling
Hmm.
experience. Um, what are your plans to continue to improve on what you have discovered here with your, your issues with? managing your stress?
Plans. Um, I guess like in the beginning, I'm just gonna keep on. If I have another like block at work, I guess I will just keep on continue to just confine in my supervisor, who's initially supposed to be there to help us out when we have problems. But I'll also have her, like just I feel like I can confide in her more when it comes to the job now that I can see how she works as a supervisor after being with her for this long. Um, she's very open-minded, very like opinionated, and is very helpful towards her team. And I know that whenever I'm in a bind, I could just ask her to talk to a parent for me now because she knows, I have a bad temper, and she knows that, she can talk better to the parents for me and have them understand because, again, they always think that I'm just attacking them and not trying to help them, or I'm more for their kids, which my job is more to protect their kids, and I let them know that from the beginning, like, yeah, I am more for your kids than you because your kids don't deserve to be in the predicament that they're in, and it was because of you. So I think it's because I'm very straightforward, honest with the parents, and they don't really like that. But I guess that's one way I learned. I learned better how to better verbalize my skills when it comes to those difficult parents, and knowing I learned that it's better to have a backup so that somebody vouch for you about how you're talking to the people. So that's why I can include my supervisor in everything now, or if I'm having a conversation with somebody, I'll make sure my supervisor is there to listen. And then another thing, like I said, I'm planning on going on vacation again soon, just to again get away. Like that's another stress coping mechanism. And I'm just going to make sure, listen to my grandma with her tea and remedies and stuff, which has helped. The tea is good to just drink, every day before you go to bed. And yeah, trying to just hang out with my friends as much as I can, just to like forget about everything that's going on in school. And I find it more, I find it less stressful to hear about, as weird as it sounds, but to hear about my friends and what they're going through than what I'm going through, because then it's like, okay, I'm not the only one that's dealing with something, and then I see how they deal with it, and then I try to like deal with it myself, like a different way, kind of like what they do. So it's just one of those things that I learned, you know, I learned how to further express it to other people outside of my job, because it's like a full circle if you just keep on talking to people at your job, because nothing really goes out. But if you talk to your friends, family, you learn different ways.
Okay. So it seems like you already have plans on improving, how to manage your stress.
Hmm.
And, if it so happens that you're really stressed, you know what to do, you know who to go to. You have family, you have friends, you have grandma remedies
Right.
that you can do, vacationing, talking to your friends. You have many things that you can do to manage your stress.
Hmm.
So I think that I mean, you have been doing really well with managing your stress from when we first began in session 1 to now, session 3. And I just want to commend you because dealing with stress, a lot of people can't really, handle stress well, or they can't really separate the two, um, workload versus home or home versus work.
Hmm.
So that's a great thing. You have a lot of support, it seems like, from your family and your friends.
Hmm.
So that's a great thing.
Yeah, I think that's what everybody needs, is that support system. If you don't have that, then everything's just gonna
Come falling down
yeah,
really
right on you.
hard.
And it's
Yeah.
like, who do you talk to? Because who's gonna actually be there to help you? Because you can hear from a whole bunch of people, and they're like, "Oh man, I just go have a drink," or "Oh, I just go do whatever they do." You know what I mean? So it's like at those times you're like, "Okay, look, I'm not like you, so I'm not gonna just go ahead and just drink a whole bottle by myself just because that's how you cope with your stress."
Right.
There's
Everybody
other
copes. There's
Yeah,
other ways.
there's other ways, like even going to the movies. Sometimes I go to the movies by myself, just so I can like actually listen to the movie, like don't worry about being with anybody else there and just focus on the movie. And I find that a lot more relaxing and a lot more pleasurable because I don't have to worry about anybody else. I don't have to worry about somebody asking me a question about what just happened. It's like, no, I'm by myself. And then it's like just hearing about, there's also different ways, like just taking a drive by yourself to the beach or whatever. Those are just things that I learned from my friends that I never even knew that they did. But they told me that they do that just to get away and just be by themselves for that little bit. I think that's what people need to learn. They can be by themselves for a little bit. It's not always around other people too.
Right. So just basically enjoy your own company.
Right.
Not to really much rely on others' company to help you with your stress load or to even help you get by a day. You have to love yourself first. Um, so that's just a great thing. I'm very happy that you were able to do this counseling experience with me. It seems that you have been able to manage your stress from when we first began this session to now. You've definitely changed in how you manage your stress. Your job has even changed. They're trying to change. I know in the beginning they were not, not if they weren't willing, but they just didn't have as much, things set in play for the for the employees.
It was like they weren't taking it as seriously as they should have.
Okay.
Because they didn't get it until they started seeing how our numbers drop and even our people dropping.
Okay.
And it was like, okay, then that was their wake up call. But they're trying to do better.
So yeah, it's definitely a plus to see you grow from, when we first started to where we are now. You have definitely grown. You're getting support from your job, which is a great thing because in the beginning you didn't think that you had that support from them, and now they are bringing, different things to the table to help you guys manage your stress and also your case workload on a whole. So that's a great thing. And then you also have your family, your friend support as far as who you can talk to when you do feel stressed. You also have your coping mechanisms as to going to the movies, just going to the beach for a walk. So you've done really well. And again, I thank you for the experience, you doing this counseling session with me.
Well, thank you for helping me through a lot too, because, never really knew how it would be to work one-on-one with a counselor, but it definitely is a new experience that definitely helped with a lot. Because like I said, it's like an outside source that, from them looking at me, you don't really know what I'm going through until I let you know. But everybody has their own different ways, like you said.
Right. So basically, your stress has gone down. So it just seems to me that you're going to do very well, even after this last session, with managing your stress and using your coping mechanisms for managing your stress.
This job, pretty much.
Okay.
And then, I don't know, I was planning on looking for another job, but with this counseling session, it really helped me with trying to stick it out a little bit longer, but I am still kind of looking for another job. So we can go from there. So thank you, Ms. Dominique.
You're welcome. Again, I just want to thank you so much for volunteering to do this client session with me, giving me this experience as well. You're opening up to a new experience of talking to a counselor. So I just want to thank you as well. And again, I think you're going to do very well with managing your stress. You've shown progress from session 1 to our last session. And again, I just want to thank you for your time.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Have a great day.
You too.